for the foundation, we have those other ones.
Oh, okay. Well, who wants to run the meeting then?
I nominate the most recent past president.
Oh, nice. Stop. I'm gonna say I can certainly run it, but it'll be noisy on my end.
Okay, well, all right, well, let's, do you want me to run it?
Go ahead, John.
Fine. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
for all. All right. Kelly, would you mind doing roll call?
Not at all. Commissioner Hilt? Commissioner Daughtry? I think you're muted, Kim, but I do see you. Commissioner Tagent?
Yes, I kind of had like a brief little off thing, but I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Hayden? See you.
Here.
Commissioner Pincus? Commissioner McLernan? Commissioner McCurdy? Commissioner Welch?
Here.
Commissioner Frederick?
Here.
Commissioner Rasmussen?
Here.
Commissioner Ives?
Here.
By the way, just for a protocol purpose, are you Commissioner Frederick and Commissioner Daughtry and Tagent when you're here, or are you council member? I've called you commissioner here and I call you council member at council meetings, but if you want me to say that differently, please let me know.
I think we're commissioners here because
Okay.
we're active participants.
Okay, great. All right, so I think we just need a motion for the absent members.
I'll make a motion to excuse the absent members of the committee.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Those members are excused. We have the approval of the minutes. If you were just getting here, you know that the minutes just recently came out. We can either look at the minutes now, pause for a second, or we can move the minutes forward, or we can entertain a motion to approve the minutes as drafted.
I just had a minute to overlook them. I'm willing to move the minutes forward as drafted.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Wait a minute. Kim?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I had seconded it, so anyway, it doesn't matter, but I did a couple seconds and nobody saw me or heard me, so there.
Sorry. I'm toggling back and forth between the agenda and the video screen. So
Okay,
even
so
though I
you-
look like I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at you. All right. So we have a motion properly moved and seconded multiple times. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, none opposed, motion passes. On to discussion items, Youth Advisory Council, and I'm going to lazily pass that on to Kim.
Okay, the Youth Advisory Council has met several times now. They're meeting basically once a week. By the way, Sean, they're not meeting this week. Just to let you know, I was going to get an email out to you and Steve. They're doing well. They're putting together a resources page. They've got a Facebook page now that they haven't really started on, but I finally got them up on a Facebook page, doing it on my own account. Then they also have what's the other social media the kids use?
Twitter, Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, they've got an Instagram account going already, and I don't have access to that. Also, just so everybody knows, I've paid for the URL. My business paid for the URL for their website and the website and logo. So I'm sponsoring the Youth Advisory Council that way. I think they're doing a great job. They're getting their feet wet. They're just talking to other youth advisory councils, and trying to figure out what they're really going to do when they grow up. And I think they're going to do well. I would also suggest that we may want to drop it from our agenda now, because they're basically going to be on their own, and we can get them to come talk to us once in a while or whatever. But it's up to you. If you want to hear about them every week or every month, then we can. They're they're attending. They have 2 people attending all of the council meetings, and they're rotating that through, and they're trying to figure out, how that actually works, how they can comment, things like that. I am taking it upon myself to make sure that I introduce them at the council meeting so everybody knows they're there. I did miss one of them last week until the very end of the meeting, but I tried to get it in there so you didn't feel out of place or left out. I just think they're doing a great job, and I think they're going to continue to do so. So,
All right. Well, I agree with everything Kim said. I think I think they are doing an amazing job, and they're going through it at an incredibly fast clip, which is pretty impressive. Being with this group, recognizing how many challenges we faced along the way. We might be able to look at some of their young energy, and maybe there's some benefits there for us as well. But I would support removing it from our agenda. I mean, they have their own thing that we could look at meeting with them or having them as a topic periodically in the future, but I don't know that there's necessarily value in following up with them week after week. Any other thoughts?
I would like to suggest that we have them join us when we get face to face someday. Just, have maybe a joint meeting with us to get them to understand who we are, and we can understand who they are. I don't want to do that on Zoom. I just think it's too anti-personal and too hard to actually interact, but with all of us and all of them. But I think, maybe later in the summer, maybe in the fall, we can get together and have a joint meeting just to say, what are you doing? Here's what we're doing. How can we meld with each other to do certain things in the community? Because that's what they're going to be doing, a lot of community stuff. So,
Kim, I would agree. I'd like to meet face to face with them as well. Zoom, there's a lot lost with that. So it would be great to get to meet them in face. Maybe we could do it at farmers market.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we could set up a dual tent at a farmer's market for information for the Youth Advisory Council and the commission.
Yeah.
Are they sophomores, juniors, seniors?
Mostly sophomores.
Okay.
They're
So
trying to find a couple of high schoolers, and they do have one freshman.
Okay.
And they also are making sure, and they're thinking about replacements as they go through.
Okay.
Because once they graduate, they're probably not going to be involved in the youth. As a matter of fact, the old Youth Advisory Council that we had several years ago went away because 2 of the hard chargers for that graduated, and it just petered out. So we counseled them on, being able to replace members as they go.
So if we met with them like in the fall time, they'd probably still be the same group.
More than likely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they got a long ways to go. So. And then the other thing I guess I could report from them is they are looking for an advisor from the school district. We have, the 3 council members have helped start this, but we're looking at trying to get an advisor because they're not really a commission of the city. They have decided to be autonomous, and which is, I think, a good thing. And so we're kind of looking for an advisor from some staff person out at the high school or the junior high school to kind of take over that role. Not that we won't be involved anymore, but we want them to have an advisor that's closer to them.
We can talk to Ken Collins. I'm sure he'll find a teacher being the.
Yeah, I've got a call into Ken through Jamie already. So
yeah,
we just haven't been able to connect.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the Purple Heart signs. Is that Samara or is Kevin taking the lead on that? I forget.
Kevin's the one that's been taking the lead on it. And I saw we've got one up now.
Yep.
Yeah,
so there's one up, and I talked with Jill, and so there's a bunch going on with signs. You guys that are on the council know more about it than me, but I think the plan right now is they're going to try to put them up standalone where it makes sense. My sense is we shouldn't push too hard for it because there are a lot of new signs that are coming down the pipeline, and they'll look better, once they're finally mounted, and there's no sense doing double work. But I wanted to take a picture of the one that is up. It's not optimal because it doesn't say Lake Stevens real well in the view. Like, I thought we'd try to get a nice thing that we could put on the internet that says Lake Stevens with the Purple Heart City sign. So I'll keep my eyes open as more signs go up. And maybe when there's another one that's attached to, one of the newer signs, we can get some of you guys together and get a group photo in front of it or something like that. But the department has them and they're putting them up, and they'll put them up faster if we want, but they're having to do standalone posts for now until the larger sign rollout gets coordinated.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. We'll look forward to seeing more on that in the coming weeks and months, and it'll be nice to have all the signs up and posted eventually. A lot of time and work and went into that project overall. So we'll see where that goes. Just to keep us moving along, we'll jump into the next coffee clutch.
Okay, so the last coffee clutch was a resounding success. The mayor and I showed up. So we had a nice chat for about 20 minutes, and then we gave up and went home and actually drank our coffee. I'm just telling you, this isn't working. So I think I would think that we want to just postpone not having any Zoom coffee clutches, because we've gotten absolutely nobody, except 3 or 4 of us at a time. The most we've had is 4, I think. I just don't think it's worth doing it and getting up at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday to have it that way. I think if we could get it where we're in person, and I think it'll be better, but it's just not working.
I agree with the in-person. I think we'll get more from an in-person than Zoom. I know for me, I do multiple of them throughout the day, so I don't know if others have that same feeling. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It might be something better suited, given the population we're trying to reach once we can get to in person. I will just share with the craziness that is my job, that is not likely to happen anytime soon. There is a governor's press conference tomorrow at 11. I don't know what's going to be said, but I can tell you that Snohomish County meets both of the triggers to move back to phase 2. So lots of meetings have been happening on concerns about moving back to phase 2. Don't want to turn it into a COVID conversation, but phase 2 likely doesn't get us moving in the direction we need to go. If I'm being totally honest, COVID doesn't seem to be worried about incremental changes Only two scenarios seem to have had any positive effects here. And that's let it run wild and burn itself out, or shut everything down and kill it. Sorry,
On
I
a
had
bright
to have it,
note, we
Alexa.
vaccinated a lot of people.
We have vaccinated a lot of people. All right, just to keep us moving, Veterans Foundation, and that's me. The only thing I can share is that thanks to Kim, I was able to stop being lazy and actually get the about $500 in donations that we received actually 2 years ago. We finally received the checks to Kim as the treasurer of the foundation so he can get those things deposited. So that is a positive. Also, I've taken all the documents that I had related to the foundation and created a Microsoft Teams page. I can send out links to that page to Marcus, Samara, and Kim, who are currently the officers. We can review all the documents and set up a meeting there so we can finally get this thing moving in earnest. With the first task being to come up with all of the other board members for the foundation. So finally getting some traction there and looking to continue the momentum forward.
To add to that a little bit, I have purchased the URL for our website, and I have the website finished, and it should be connecting to the URL here shortly. I was working on it this past weekend, so I haven't gone in today to see if it actually connected yet or if there's any problems with it, but I will send that information out to you as soon as it's connected, and you can look at the website. The website really is just a little bit of the difference between what I originally did for the Veterans Commission. Most of it is the same, with a few words changed to make it the foundation, and logo changes and things like that. And I would be more than happy to take anybody's criticisms or critique or suggestions on changes to any part of it. But it's just basically what I had written 3 years ago for the other website that we decided we couldn't use because of public requests. And so it's germane to what we're doing, but it really was written with the commission in mind instead of the foundation. I still think it reads well for the foundation, but anybody's input is welcome. Just like Kevin needs input for the newsletter, I need input for the website. I'm also going to be trying to find one of you that wants to be a co-writer or whatever on the website in case something happens to me, so somebody can get in there. You know, we need to think of those kinds of things. I'm getting really old, so things could happen anytime now, especially since I'm going to go get that nice little shot that everybody's getting. Who knows if I'm going to survive? So I
had about 18 hours of heck, and then I was just fine. So you'll be fine.
Yeah, Debbie got hers on Saturday, and there's nothing.
Perfect. That's good.
So anyway, but we do need to have that kind of thing where we have backup to things. I mean, the same as Sean's given access to the documents for the foundation. We need to have access to, multiple accesses to everything we have, because sometimes some of us aren't going to be around. Sometimes we are, things happen. So I'll get that set up. I don't know, Kevin, you want to be one of them? You and I are going back and forth on things like that. Sean, another one.
I'm happy to help. I was on mute. Sorry.
All right. I'll give a link to you guys so you can get in there. It's pretty easy to do. I'm doing the same thing with the Youth Advisory Council for their website. So
also on a related note, I don't know how often you check your Gmail ID, but today I made you, or yesterday, one of these days recently, I assigned that your ID to be the recovery for email ID for that Lake Stevens Veterans Foundation info Gmail account that we're using. So you might want to put a look on that.
I got notification of that from Gmail. So
okay, great.
At first, when it popped up, I thought, I think I'm being scammed here. Oh no, I know what this is. Okay, got it.
Are there any rules for how many people from the commission can be on the foundation in regards to running it?
I think we said 3, didn't we?
I think it's 4 because
4.
there's
Might be
4 of us
4,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, I think
And I
it's
also
4.
think that there's a distinction that we could make between being on the board as an official member of the board versus helping the foundation, I think is unlimited, right?
Yeah, that would be unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the board, I think that's
Yeah.
what Debbie was talking about.
Well, no, actually, I would love to help. I don't need to be on a board, but I would love to help. I just don't know if am I able to do that?
Oh, well, yeah, anybody can do that. But I think
Okay.
I think that the definition of the board from the commission, I thought it was 3, but yeah, I think you're already right. It's 4.
Okay.
And I think we're only going to have 11, right? Maximum of 11 people. And it could be family members of military. It could be active duty military, veterans.
Yeah, we borrowed heavily from the commission rules for those things. And, you know, you pointed out the last time we looked at those bylaws and articles of incorporation, they do need some work.
Yeah, we have a couple of line items that are a little bit.
Little wonky. They
little
got us
wonky, yeah.
live, but there's work to be done. So.
Yeah, we need to get together and as a foundation and change that.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Anything more about the foundation? Moving on to commission report to the city council, and I'm not really sure who's taking that one. Is that Kelly? Because Kelly put out a draft.
Kevin, that's all Kevin's draft. I just helped send it out.
Kelly, maybe if you want to share it, I can
Yeah.
talk to it and then we can, I think we're close to wrapping it up once we get people to comment.
Sure. Let me pull it up here.
So I'll start just while we're getting it up. There's not a lot has changed, and it's at the very bottom. If you guys want to check later in your email that Kelly sent out, I put like a footnote in that has the link to the actual governance that enables the Veterans Commission, right? So there's a bunch of obligations and duties that we have, and I basically plagiarized liberally from that. So as you see the different wording, that's where it comes from, and feel free to make suggestions. But just going through this real quick, the top, anything you see in blue is kind of, to my way of thinking, stuff that you guys haven't had a chance to review and I wasn't real clear on. So the first part is this going to be a staff report, in which case we would put Kelly's name, or, there was a discussion that we're a little bit different from the typical commission. So if we want to call it a commission report, then I would suggest, Carmen should be the contact person as our chair. Maybe I should stop there to get comments on that.
Generally speaking, when we have a staff report, the staff report it out to the council. In this case, I guess it would be Kelly because she's our liaison. I know that in other commissions, we have a different staff reporting because they did the job of that portion of the report, even though it might be one other person that is the liaison, but we don't have that particular issue happening here. So the other thing we could probably do is have Carmen come in and do the report, which is not a bad idea if Carmen can do it. And the other option would be to have one of the council members do the report.
Tim, I almost wonder, I agree with what you're saying. Most of the time it's that way, but I think that somewhere along the line, we should, like the Parks Board, we meet with the council, we have the Planning Commission meet. We never really have the Veterans Commission meet with the council and explain how important it is. I mean, and the things that we do. So I almost wonder if it would be good to every once in a while have a joint meeting like we do with Parks or whatever with the whole commission, so they can see faces and see who all is doing the work behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think we were leading up to that, Marcus, but we've never even made a report to them, and that's where this report came from.
Sure.
So we were just trying to do like I think we discussed, I don't know if you were there when we discussed it, but doing at least a quarterly report. But I also agree with you that we need to have a sit down, hey, joint meeting with the council, with all of us, and talk about quote unquote our work plan and what we're doing and those kinds of things. This particular one is just a report. What we decided to do is just a report to get it out there because we've never done it. It's like nobody remembers we have a commission.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah, definitely getting a report there would be great.
yeah. So, but I agree. I think we ought to maybe next quarter after this report is done, we have a sit down with the council. We can get it on the, maybe Kelly, you can put that on tomorrow morning's little thing for a memo to get together to get that done so we can get on our agenda. But I don't know. It really kind of depends on who we want to have do this report. I am, I don't really see that it matters that much. Carmen, it would be nice to have Carmen make the report because she is the president. So I think that would be the best to at least have her there and, speak to it. And then the 3 council members can always pipe up. We always do.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to, Kelly, do you want to approach Carmen, or do you want me to, or do you have thoughts on it, or anyone else?
Yeah, either one. I'm happy to do it, or I'm happy to do it. Or maybe I can just talk with her a little bit about sort of how the council meetings work. And I think her being the chair of the commission makes sense, just to introduce this program overview. And then, I mean, it can be short and brief, and we'll put it in the packet so the council can read it ahead of time. And then just talk to maybe a joint meeting in the future.
You could probably calm her fears about what's going to happen better than I could,
Yeah, no, I'm happy to talk to her. I can give her a call.
So
Yeah.
I'll just,
ahead.
something, am I cutting someone else off? Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, thanks, Sean. I'm just going to talk to the things in blue because the other stuff was in the first draft I sent out, and the last sentence in blue is just a sort of a forward-looking statement. And in case it wasn't said, Kelly sent me a few of the Parks Department's reports, and I basically just used their same format, and they seem to have a forward-looking statement ending this little summary part here. And then the next page just describes each I'll call them program or project, the things we're doing, with a sentence of, I think Sean called it the origin story and, current status maybe. So that's the other thing, I guess, under business recognition, I really liked, we had this conversation last time about that we're not bound by the city limits. And there was a word, that was being used, and I lost it. That wasn't really nearby, but that it captured that thought that it wasn't strictly tied to the city limit. But so if anyone has suggested wording, I think that's a little awkward. I guess that's my feedback. I think that is a little awkward there, and I think I'll stop because the rest of it's, I think, pretty self-explanatory, and it's just a matter of whether everyone's comfortable with the words or wants to change anything.
Hey, Kevin?
Yeah.
What about adjacent to?
Yeah, that works. Although I guess, is that what we want? I guess,
So
go ahead, guys.
So let me interject this here for a little bit. Let me give you a scenario for this. I'm the board chair for this community transit, and I asked our community transit staff to let me know how many veterans work at community transit. Turns out it's a grunch. And then I asked, can you specifically tell me how many of those veterans that work for community transit actually live in Lake Stevens? And it turns out, I believe there's 10 of our bus drivers, and I think 4 of this actual staff, admin staff, work or live in Lake Stevens. So the question then would be, would we put out a document to community transit recognizing them as a veteran-friendly business because they service Lake Stevens and they have veterans from Lake Stevens that work for them. So that's my hypothesis to the group.
Right, and while Carmen's not here, I think she gives a good use case of her business, right? She's a Lake Stevens resident, but her business is in Everett, if I understand it right.
That's what I was just gonna say, that residents within Lake Stevens that have businesses even outside of Lake Stevens.
So that might not be adjacent, or it might, it gets murky, and that's where I wish I could remember.
How about
um,
instead of highlight the contribution of veteran-owned and veteran-friendly businesses operating within or supporting Lake Stevens.
Yeah.
And that way we take out the geography. It's just if you're supporting Lake Stevens.
I like it.
Does
That'd be a
that,
good catch-all.
does that cover living in Lake Stevens with a business outside? I guess that's supporting Lake Stevens. Yeah. I could buy that.
Good. I like that.
You know-
Kelly, do you want me to make updates and send you another version, or you want to make them on the fly, or?
Sure. You know what? I can make them. Let's see if I can do this here. Council member, oh, see, it's have it. Commissioner Frederick?
I was just gonna say either in resolution 996 or in the code there in 270, there's actually some language that kind of goes along with when it talks about the Veterans Commission in some of those purpose statements. And one of those purpose statements, it actually talks about within the city of Lake Stevens, the region, and so there's some language there that kind of builds out from the city outward that could simply be borrowed and wordsmith to fit in there.
Understand
about our
one of
municipal
them. One of them is the first one under purpose is understanding the needs of the regional employers who do employ or may consider the employment of veterans. So it's using the word regional.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we have language that kind of touches on what we're trying to get to. And
I think that's the one. That's the only one in the purpose right there. That's the one.
Are you guys looking at the code, the municipal code
Mhm.
section?
If
Okay.
you go
yeah,
down to the
I
bottom, Kelly, you can click on, there's a link to it.
Okay.
2.70.010 alpha. Under Veterans Commission, it states, understanding the needs of regional employers who do employ or may consider the employment of veterans. So if we put the word regional in there somehow, that would work.
I guess for expediency, maybe it's better to take these recommendations and then float something later rather than trying to edit it on the fly and just run it by everyone where people could raise their hand if they object. Otherwise, we call it done. Is that fair?
When are we trying to get this report to the council?
No, that's probably the better question.
Well, perhaps I need to check with Carmen's schedule.
Well, you're not going to be able to reach her until later than tomorrow, so we wouldn't be able to get it on the schedule right away, but we probably couldn't anyway. What do we have?
I don't know if anybody heard me, but the supporting, before the supporting, put in and or, and/or,
Okay, I'm sorry.
because and, I don't know, that kind of ties everything. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement. I think it still carries everything that we're trying to portray.
Okay.
Agreed.
And to your point, Kim, I would think we'd want to get it done in June, right? Before the end of June to get this in front of the city council. Maybe sooner, but
Yeah,
certainly
I'd
by
like to
then.
do it the last council meeting of May, actually. I
Right.
don't,
May 25th.
yeah, I don't think we have much on the agenda anyway. But we'll find out tomorrow morning. So we have our agenda planning meeting tomorrow morning.
So we wouldn't have another scheduled meeting before then. I guess that's where I was going with the idea of if we circulate something in email to make sure everyone's comfortable, would that be satisfactory.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. That would be putting us, let's see, the next Veterans Commission would be on the 7th of June, and the city council would meet the next night. So we could do it that way. If we have to come back in here and do any kind of Scribner's changes or whatever. So it's up to you guys. I just want to do it sooner rather than later. We need to get this done.
Right. Now I'm going to try to go on mute because my feeling is I'm comfortable with all these words. The important thing is, are you guys,
Yeah, I think, for me in general, I'm comfortable with the wording that's here. We've kind of asked people to step up and make tasks happen. This looks like a task that is accomplished unless there's an objection. I'm willing to say we move forward with it and let's close this out. But that's just me. I'm not someone that needs perfection to move forward.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I move that we accept the council report as drafted or as edited.
Second.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, there it is. We are set to get on the next most expedient city council agenda.
All right, so my task then will be to reach out to Carmen. I'll talk with her a little bit, figure out the date, hopefully May 25th, since we're not gonna, okay. And then I'll report back to the commission and let you know. And then certainly invite any of you who wanna attend that council meeting.
Can you forward a final copy of the report to us? Appreciate being able to read it as it is.
Absolutely.
I'll try to be there.
I'll think about it. There are days.
Yeah.
All right, last item for discussion is the Veteran Service Center.
I don't think there's anything we can talk about on the Veteran Service Center right now. I do know that the VOA is getting ready to build the building. I don't know where they're at in that process, and we haven't had any kind of a update on that. Marcus, have you heard anything? Because you're pretty close to some people that are around that.
I haven't heard anything on that at all. Very little about that.
Okay. Well, I think either you and I, I'll see if I can put out some feelers and find out what's going on that. I do know that the VOA is going to do it. They're going to build the building, and I don't know what all that looks like. It is with the same purpose that we had before, to be able to have a VSO in those offices and other providers in those offices. So. As that goes, also there's the veteran or the family center is now known as the Community Resource Center, is operational in Lake Stevens at one of the churches. I can't remember which one right now. I just got an update email from them, so I think it's on our council email actually. Yeah, there's a council email that just came out tonight about the community center. Community Resources Center. It's from Tina Mandela. So I think she's in charge of that right now for the VOA, and that is from the VOA. So those two things are going to meld in the future. I just don't know. I don't have any good information for where it is right now. So I think it's a stay tuned, and we can help prod it along when it's time.
All right.
Hey, Kim, if it's appropriate, could you forward that to me? Because as you're saying this, I'm thinking maybe we can try to get something written up in the next newsletter. If I reach out to this person from the VOA, and that might, get them thinking hard about what's real and what's still smoke.
Yeah, Kelly, could you do that? Did you get a copy of it or not?
I didn't. I just looked in my box. and
Let
I don't-
let me forward it to you, Kelly.
Okay.
And then it'll be better for her to do it.
Yep, thank you.
I also just wanted to note that Commissioner Hilt just sent me an email wanting me to tell you guys that he's very sorry he can't log on, and he's on duty tonight, and they're very busy. So,
Wish him well.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just sent that to you, Kelly.
Okay, I'll send it off.
You might as well send it to everybody that's not on the council because they're not getting this. It's a council email. So
Right. Okay.
All right. That brings us to new business. Any new business for the group?
I wanted to thank Vern for the information from the Legion in regards to the Memorial Day activities. Though depending on the information we get tomorrow, that might be changing, but thanks, Vern.
I'm not a betting. Nope, I'm gonna leave it there.
Oh,
I wouldn't bet against it, and I don't know anything, so.
I will just say that Snohomish County meets both of the triggers to move into phase 2, and I'll stop there. So having no new business and no additional new business, upcoming agenda items, we discussed removing the Youth Advisory Council from our discussion and action items. Since we are not going to resume the coffee clatch until we're able to do in person, I would suggest that we remove that as well. Having both of those items potentially as parking lot items for the chair and vice chair to resurrect when time is appropriate. Any upcoming agenda items that people would like to see added?
I'd like to add the newsletter to next month because we should be talking about it to get it out at the end of June. And I'll use this as an informal call now to say, I got an update from Carmen with probably a half a dozen businesses that need to be qualified, but that she thinks it was her unqualified list of businesses that would be eligible for recognition. So I'll be working on that. I'm hoping that can be sort of the highlight of the June newsletter. So if anyone wants to work on that with me, there's plenty of opportunity there. Also, if there's any events that are going to happen in Q3, right, July through August, we'd want to highlight that in this newsletter. Okay. And so I guess this is a call for people to be thinking about it. If you could send me an email or something so I can start to block out what the newsletter would look like, that really helps me to get it organized. I see Kim's got his hand up.
do we want to get this on the list to also do some recognitions of those 6 businesses for the 25th of May, and then put it in the June newsletter? So have them recognized by the council. We can still do that on Zoom.
Well, one of the things I wanted to bring in front of the group was, we talked about this a little, but where does it make sense to do the recognition? Is it to try to get the person to a council meeting, or is it at an outdoor event that happens, or do we ask the person what they'd prefer? I'm a little fuzzy on that whole part of how we want to formalize the recognition.
If we're talking about soon, I don't think you need to worry about an in-person gathering because that's not going to be happening. So if we're talking about recognizing them as part of our business with the city council, there is time to have those certificates made. Alexander Printing is the company that we used to do the last group. They have the logo and everything there. We can simply get those certificates made and have them available for whoever is going to do the presentation. We can invite those business owners to that city council meeting. It's a lower threshold for people to come to the city council meetings because it is simply a Zoom link. There isn't travel that's necessary. So, you know, there's probably a better chance of having people attend, which is what happened, which was the problem with 2 of the 3 people that we tried to recognize before. Ironically, 2 of the 3 businesses didn't show up for the city council meeting.
Right. I think one of them's a council member now, though, so we ought to be able to solve that one.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say a word.
No. Actually, I think it's putting a bunch of pressure on us to get to May. Kim, I think maybe we could take a run at it, but I've only talked to one person. I don't even know the owners of these other places. And, you know, so I'm a little bit hesitant to try to bundle all this for a May 25th meeting when we haven't really, it's not like it's a smooth assembly line operation at this point.
Okay, so when is the newsletter supposed to go out then?
Well, it would be sometime in June is when we've been doing, you know, that would be the target by the end of June.
Okay,
Right,
well, then we can do it in a June meeting then instead of the
Yeah.
May meeting. Okay.
I think that's a
so
lot more comfortable.
What I was thinking, the only thing that I had thought was we get it done and then put it in the newsletter as this is what we did. So that's my thought process. So I will help with those. If you send me the 6 and we'll divvy them up or whatever, I'll help with talking to them and
Barbecue much?
getting their input.
I'd love to help too if you need extra help.
Great.
Kevin.
I will reach out to every one of you. Absolutely.
So the discussion we had about the regional thing, I would love to be able to do one for community transit, and then I would be able to do that at a board meeting. I would be able to present that at a board meeting also. So I can get Rick Engelfritz or Deb Osborne or somebody from the staff, the higher staff of community transit to come. Also, I could get one of the city residents that are staff at CT to come to the council meeting and receive that award. And then I could give it publicly at a community transit board meeting. So,
Right.
and that could be at the June board meeting, you know, if we get it done in time, maybe. No, we wouldn't be able to get it done in time. That's on the 3rd. So I'd have to do it in July. So not a big deal, but if we all agree that the threshold of being a veteran friendly business, then I would like to submit that we put them in for it.
I think so. And I think it ought to be fairly loose at this point, right? Because we don't have any we've recognized so far. So
Yeah.
Why make it a high threshold?
Okay, so we'll try to get them done by June. And by maybe the last June council meeting, which would be on the 29th.
22nd. There's
22nd. Oh, it's 5. Okay, so the 22nd. Oh, I can get rid of that one off my calendar. That's nice.
Well, for now.
Yeah, for now. So we can do it by the 22nd, and then we could have the letter out by the end of the month.
Yep. And Sean, I was going to ask you, so I talked to Alexander Printing and they gave me the sort of a screenshot of what they had done before, right? But did they put it in like a leather bound case? It's not just a piece of paper, right? It's actually like a little.
They just did the certificates, and we actually, Gail bought frames from them for them somewhere locally, but there wasn't anything specific about the frames. They were just very simple brushed metal frames. I can actually, I'll take a picture of the 2 that are remaining because I have a lot of I have all of the foundation stuff here. The Purple Heart frame, the business frames that haven't been handed out, all of those items.
Okay, great. That would be great. And even just knowing what it is, and we'll work through it. But that's the kind of stuff I was a little hesitant to commit to because I'm not sure of all the pieces that we need to put together, even though they're small. I wanted to, be
We can ask-
look polished at the end.
We can ask Gail where she got them, and we can use our funds. You know, we've got funds on the commission to be able to buy those things. So we
Yeah.
just ask Gail where we got them and go get a bunch.
Am I hearing this is an agenda item for next meeting on the 7th, right?
Yeah.
Recognized veteran businesses. Okay.
All right. Any other any other upcoming agenda items? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I was wondering there for a second.
I know.
All right.
I couldn't get to mute fast enough.
Properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? All right, thanks, everybody. I return you 6 minutes of your day.
See you guys.
See you next month.
thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Good luck tomorrow, Sean.